Hello, and welcome to Watershed Watch in Kentucky's Recertification Training. Watershed Watch in Kentucky is a volunteer water monitoring program that began in 1997. Since our program is volunteer-based, this slide shows how we are set up. Our volunteer samplers are at the top of this chart. We then have volunteers who serve as area coordinators or runners. This position is very important since they help to ensure samples are collected and delivered to the lab in their areas. And the sampling event coordinator is an individual that will reach out to the volunteers and notify them of upcoming events, sampling events, conferences, anything like that, help them to get registered, and mail out their sampling packet. They also work with our lab managers to set up the drop-off times and dates for our samplings. Our science advisors work hard to make sure that our sampling data efforts are scientifically valid and useful. Each Watershed Watch basin has a steering committee or board of directors. They are responsible for making decisions in their local basin. And last is the statewide Watershed Watch in Kentucky Board of Directors. This board is made up of a representative from each of our founding partners, the Kentucky Division of Water, Sierra Club, and Kentucky Waterways Alliance, as well as a representative from each of the Watershed Watch basins. Their goal is to make sure that we have funding to continue on with our volunteer water monitoring program and lake monitoring program, as well as many other programs that Watershed Watch in Kentucky has to offer. They also look for ways to help support the local Watershed Watch basins. The sampling data that you collect belongs to you, the sampler. You can use this in personal decision making. You may want to take your findings to your local government and let them know of what your sampling data means. We have some county officials that provide grant funding to their local Watershed Watch groups to ensure that sampling continues in their county. You may want to join forces with other volunteers or other individuals in your area that have concerns about water quality issues. You can apply for grant funding, watershed planning, do assessment screening, use it for scientific research. We have standard operating procedures for each of our training protocols. You should have received the field chemistry and grab sample booklets when you were trained. If you do not have them, reach out to us and let us know. The little flip booklets are used for when you are actually out in the field. Our SOPs can be found at kywater.org. So if you signed up to sample 7 to 10 days prior to a sampling event, you will receive your sampling packet in either by mail or by way of your area coordinator. When you receive it, open it. Make sure that you have everything you need. This gives us time to get another bottle to you if your bottle should be damaged. I know this slide is a little bit wordy, but the message that we want to get across is to be safe. If the water levels are high, we do not want you to collect a sample. In fact, your basin may postpone a sampling event until the water is at a safe level. If you're crossing private property, you need permission from the landowner, and this should happen prior to a sampling event. If you wear waders, it's not a bad idea to wear a life vest in case you slip. Using your cell phone, you should have your cell phone with you. Today they make various watertight pouches that will protect your phone in case you drop it in the water. And even better, it's good to take a friend or a family member out and show them where you're collecting samples. You will need to purchase distilled water. A gallon costs less than $1 and will last you a long time. You will use the distilled water to rinse off your field chemistry equipment as well as the probes on your conductivity meter. If you have more than one sampling site, you need to be able to do this in the field to prevent cross-contamination. Your waste containers, this is where you will empty the used chemicals that you use when you're performing your field chemistry test into, as well as any used distilled water out in the field that you will use to rinse off your equipment. You need to get in a habit of emptying these after every sampling event. You can flush the contents down the toilet that is connected to a wastewater sewage treatment plant. If you are on a septic tank, don't do this. Reach out to us and we will give you other alternatives as to how to get rid of the waste. The equipment is loaned to you. When you were trained and received your equipment, today it would cost close to $300 to replace the equipment that you received for the field chemistry. You need to make sure that you take care of it. But if for some reason you should leave the program, retire, move, anything like that, it is your responsibility to return that back to the basin. If you're unsure of who to return it to, you can reach out to us at the Watershed Watch office and we will make sure to make contact with you about who to get that equipment to. We can clean it up and refurbish it for another volunteer. Remember, we work off of grant funding, so it is important that you take care of the equipment and return it back to us if you leave the program. Your equipment needs to be stored in a climate-controlled area, not in the trunk of your car or in your garage. When you were trained, your equipment came to you in a white dish pan. This is the best place to keep it. Simply take that pan, put it in the top of an interior closet. That way it is out of the reach of young children and pets. You have enough chemicals to do 50 tests, so you can use your field chemistry equipment to educate others. You may want to collect your field chemistry in the months that we are not sampling. There is a monthly monitoring form on our website at kywater.org. Simply fill it out, make sure you give me the date and the site number, send it to me, and I will upload it into the KGS data portal. If you should need replacement batteries for your conductivity meter, or maybe you've got a piece of equipment that is not working properly, please reach out and let us know so that we can get everything to you that you need. On the chemical safety, the dissolved oxygen, we have an acid as one of the chemicals that we use. The pH reagent is flammable, so please do not smoke while you are doing your chemistry test. Our material safety data sheets can be found at kywater.org. In your sampling packet, you will receive a pair of disposable vinyl gloves for each sampling site that you have. Wear them. They're not only to protect you from what is in the water, but also to protect your sample. Eye protection, we want you to have something on your eyes when you're doing your field chemistry test. So it can be reading glasses or sunglasses, but please make sure you wear one or the other. Once you were trained, you should have received a volunteer ID card in the mail that has an associate ID number and your basin code on it. Volunteers need to get in the habit of registering for a sampling event. When you get that email telling you that we're getting ready to sample, your sampling event coordinator can register for you if that's what you need to happen. Or you can go to the Watershed Watch event registration page. The link is in this slide. Enter your associate ID number and your basin code and click Go. This will bring up your information and the sampling events that you can register for. You can register for all of them at one time. If you have already pre-registered, the box will be grayed out to where you can't register a second time for that event. If you did not get a volunteer ID card, or if you have lost it, please reach out and let me know so that I can get a replacement to you. So now sampling day is here. You're going to enter the stream at a downstream location and walk up. That way anything that is kicking up underneath of your feet is flowing behind you. You're going to do your field chemistry and field observations first before you collect your grab sample for E. coli. You will collect your sample at the same location each time. Just a little bit below where you're going to fill your E. coli bottle is where you will do your field chemistry and your field observations. That way, if you're stirring up anything, it's not going to end up in your E. coli sample bottle. If for some reason you collect at a different location, maybe you've collected at bankside instead of midstream, record that on your chain of custody form so we will know. Flow rate, it's a 0 to 5 point scale. There are 3 conditions, flow conditions, that we will ask you not to collect a sample. Dry, meaning there is no water in the stream at all. Ponded means still stagnant water. There's no connecting flow. So we don't want you to collect then. And of course flooded because of your safety. If when you arrive, if any of these flow conditions are present, simply mark your chain of custody form. You can mail that form back to me. My information is on the bottom of the chain of custody form. Or if you have another site that you're going to collect a sample at, you can turn this chain of custody form in with the other one, and that way we will know why a sample was not collected. 48-hour rainfall. If you have a rain gauge, that's fine. You can use any of these websites, your local paper or weather channel, something to get your 48-hour rainfall. Turbidity is simply how clear is the water. At one of the 3 scheduled sampling events, we ask our volunteers to take a photograph of their sampling site. So when you arrive on the day of sampling, before you do your field chemistry or collect your grab sample, while you're standing in the stream at your sampling point, we want you to take your cell phone and take a photograph upstream. If you've got any recognizable landmarks, a road or a bridge, anything like that, try to pull that into your photo and save the photograph in your phone. We're currently finalizing an app that will allow you to upload your photograph using the COC ID number on your chain of custody form. This way your photograph will show on the KGS data portal along with your sampling data and your field chemistry. It's good to check your sampling site coordinates at least once to make sure that we have the right location for your sampling site. You can go to the KGS data portal. The link is on the slide. Enter your site number in the site search box. Once your site results are showing, you will see the site search box above the results link. Click on the site search box, then you will click on map, and this will show you where your sampling site is located. You can click on the little yellow pin. It will give you the latitude and longitude, kind of give you a little bit more information. There's also you can switch the base map to where it's a topo map or anything like that. If you need more clarification on where it's showing your site. If it's incorrect, please let us know so that we can fix it. Your conductivity meters need to be calibrated before each sampling event. They'll hold their calibration for 24 hours. The instructions are in your field chemistry flip booklet. and the instructions in your sampling packet will tell you the number of the conductivity standard that you're using to calibrate your meter to. There's a place on your chain of custody form to record when the date that you recorded or calibrated your meter. So now that you've taken your site photo, your field chemistry, and your field observations, it's now time to grab your E. coli grab sample bottle. You should already have your disposable gloves on. The bottles are sterile, so please do not rinse the bottle. In some cases, the sample bottles may have a white tablet or white powder in the bottom. This is to neutralize any chlorine that may have come from a chlorine flush from a treatment plant. You will uncap the bottle, keep the mouth of the bottle pointed up towards the sky, take the bottle and scoop midstream, mid-depth into your stream, and you're going to use a U-shaped motion. Bring it out, cap it. Do not try to tap out or pour out any of the water. If you go below that 100 ml line, you cannot reuse the bottle. It's already been contaminated. So just leave the bottle full. The labs that we use are professionals. They can pipe out enough that needs to be removed so that there is enough airspace in them. You're going to take your sample and you're going to place it into your cooler that has an ice water slurry mix. It's not a bad habit to get into of placing your sample bottle into a Ziploc bag, squeezing out the air and closing it, and then placing that bag down into your cooler into that ice water slurry mix. That way, if for some reason the sample bottle is leaking, it will be contained in that Ziploc bag. The sample hold time, the moment that you fill your E. coli bottle, your grab sample bottle, that is when the clock starts ticking. So that is the time and the date that needs to be recorded on the top right hand corner of your chain of custody form. Watershed Watch tells our volunteers that you have 6-hour hold time for E. coli. It's actually 8. We give the last 2 hours to our labs. If there's anything other than E. coli, your sampling instructions will tell you the hold time. Professional labs are normally not open on Saturdays. However, our labs open to accommodate our samplers. So please be courteous of the drop-off times that are listed on your instructions and follow those so that we will make sure that we have a good working relationship with our labs. Your chain of custody form serves as a record. It stays with your sampling bottle from the time that you receive it in the mail until it is dropped off at the lab. The date and the time that you collect your E. coli sample is recorded in the top right hand corner. If you are on Central Time, please check that box. There are places for your field observations and measurements, as well as any general comments that you may have. The volunteers' information is also on there. If anything is incorrect, if your phone number or maybe even the sampling location is not correct, just mark through it and record the correct information. The date and the time a sample is relinquished and received need to match. So when you drop off your sample to an area coordinator or another volunteer or even the lab, you will sign that you are relinquishing your sample, record the time and date, and watch them sign that they received it and record the same time and date. This shows that someone was in control of that sample at all times. Since you're a trained volunteer or trained sampler, you can collect for another sampler. Just scratch through their name and record your name, print your name, the name of the person collecting the sample, and the name of the signature on the relinquish line need to match. About 30 days after a sampling event, you should get an email from either the sampling event coordinator or the data manager telling you that your sampling results are on the KGS data portal. Their link is on this slide. Go on there and check and make sure that everything is correct. If your photograph is there, all that type of thing, let us know if you see anything that doesn't look right. So our volunteers, we ask that you get recertified every 3 years. The Watershed Watch office keeps records of when you were trained and when you were last recertified. You can watch the recertification video as a refresher course. If you are due for new chemicals, then we will know that. But we want you to be recertified every 3 years, and we will reach out to you to let you know that it is time to be recertified. The environmental safety, this is actually in your flip booklets as well. If you observe an outfall, a pipe, or anything that might indicate illegal pollution, you can contact the Kentucky Division of Water and report it. If you see anything like that, take a couple pictures so that they may ask for that. Your information is kept confidential, and the complaints person will send someone out, an inspector out, to actually look at the issue. If you see an environmental emergency, maybe you've gone down to the stream and you see a sewer line that is broke and sewage is pouring into the stream. For one, don't be in the water. Contact the environmental response team at either one of these numbers. They are on call 24/7. This is my information. You can email me or call me at any time. I'm happy to help you and answer any questions that you may have. The link for the recertification quiz is in the description at the beginning of the YouTube video. Please make sure that you complete the quiz so that we will be able to send you your replacement chemicals. Thank you.